Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Monday Night Raw review. And this was the go-home show, the last Raw before Extreme Rules this Sunday. And I've got to say, I had a lot of fun with tonight's Raw. Was every segment a hit? Not necessarily. But you know what? I felt like this is a really well done go-home show. It got me hyped for Extreme Rules. Some really fun segments. We finally got the debut of the Shining Stars, which I'll be excited to kind of touch upon again here. And yeah, just this Raw seemed jam-packed with a lot of good stuff. Even the ending segment, I gotta be honest, I didn't really even hate it too much. So yeah, I give this go-home show the green light. I thoroughly enjoyed it. What about you, Ashton?
Dude, it is so funny that you say that about the final segment because I despised it.
I can imagine. I was anticipating that. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't in love with it by any means, but I thought it could have been far worse.
Honestly, I would give the first 2 hours of this show like a solid 8 out of 10. Like, this was good stuff. And then the last hour was like a 5.
Right.
If that.
Yeah, I mean, the final hour just consistently seems to be that hour where things really do start to taper off a bit. I gotta say, though, on the whole, for a go-home show, I definitely thought that this go-home show for Extreme Rules was better than some of its predecessors, you know? Like, I don't know, I just had fun with it. So, with that said, let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. Don't really have any heats tonight. I don't even think I really have any nitpicks, I'm being honest. I mean, yeah, not every segment was necessarily a hit, but that may just come down more to personal preferences for me. I didn't see anything really grotesque or offensive about this show, so I'm good for right now. Ashton, do you have any heats tonight or any nitpicks?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you'd call it a heat of the night or a nitpick, but I have a problem, and it's something that's been kind of eating at me for a few weeks now that I really just can't let it go any longer.
Okay.
The booking of Anderson and Gallows is horrid.
Yeah, I really haven't been the biggest fan of it either.
Like, not only are they only ever facing the Usos, but they never beat them. Like, they've beaten them once on their debut, and one time in a 6-man tag that also involved AJ and Roman. But they've not beaten them since. And that 6-man tag was the week of their debut. So they haven't won a match since the week of their debut, which was 3 weeks ago.
Right, and I think even, with that debut win, and I get it, right, because they're heels, but it is kind of cheapened a bit when they really, emphasize the fact, the Usos came into that match injured, because they had the arm injuries, quote-unquote, they were dealing with because of the beatdown by Anderson and Gallows.
Right.
And yeah, you're talking about two guys that you and I and so many others listening to this know what they can do in New Japan. And I get, you're going to get the people that say, well, the reset button's kind of hit when you go into a new place, and I understand that. But when you got JBL harping on how they dominated the Japanese tag team scene,
yeah,
and yet they lose to the Usos like so many other tag teams.
That's my thing, too, is that, like you say, well, when you go into a new place, the reset button's hit. To me, that makes it that much more important to actually make them look like the big deal that they are, because of the fact that you have to hit the reset button. People don't know who they are.
Exactly. So you want to make them feel important.
Yeah.
And, for once, and I can't believe I'm saying this, guys like JBL actually put their back into really making these guys seem like a big deal. And yet the booking, I feel like, diminishes the mystique. It's like, okay, so what's so great about these guys again? And I could totally see where you're coming from with your gripes about Anderson and Gallows booking, because I was so jazzed about these guys coming in together. I know we both were, and there were so many others. Maybe they'll start being, booked better and more strongly, if the impending, or at least we believe impending, debut of Finn Balor kind of changes course and everything. But I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily get my hopes up. It's just been kind of dispiriting to watch.
Yeah, man, it's been rough. I don't understand if it's like a long play or if they just legitimately don't know what the hell to do with them and they just kind of wanted to snatch them up from New Japan because they were a hot act, but I don't know. I have no clue.
And see, if that is the case, I mean, I gotta say, like, what a waste of talent. Because no point in scooping up a talent if you don't even really know how you're going to really utilize them and, get the most bang for your buck, so to speak.
But that's the
Yeah.
WWE way, dude. They've been doing that for decades.
It just seems more like, and I agree with you, you're certainly not wrong. It just seems more like, okay, let's get this talent so that other people can't have this talent, not because we have this grand vision for said talent. And, that's very petty and really quite sad for the performer.
And dude,
Because,
it might even be more malicious than that. I've heard stories where Vince used to buy contracts out from other promotions just to make them look like jobbers.
right.
And then they would release them without any value, and the other promotion might take them back, but who cares? They have no value anymore.
Exactly. And then, that really sucks for the performer because you're talking about their livelihood now and the brand and the stock that they've kind of built up. That's why I was glad when AJ left TNA. He didn't just go straight, to WWE or to the next, like, really big territory. And instead, he went another continent altogether, went to Japan, dominated there, built up his stock. And now I'd say the WWE's handled him fairly well for the most part. I'm sure that's a subject of spirited debate in some circles. I've personally liked it. But then you get people like Anderson and Gallows that, yeah, they did great stuff too, but they don't have the notoriety of an AJ Styles. And that's not their fault. That's just the name of the game. And I think they get more damaged and just more harmed in the long run by booking like this, which is sad.
Exactly. Do we want to move on now?
We can move on now. You didn't have any other heat tonight or any other nitpicks?
Nope.
All right, then let us get right into our Monday Night Raw review. And Ashton, how do we open this baby up?
We open this baby up with none other than AJ Styles.
Yeah, AJ Styles comes out, and he's got something on his mind. He wants to address, because he's been hearing it a lot, not just from Roman Reigns, but from, people everywhere. And, he does cite social media. He has the Titantron play, like, a whole bunch of tweets that have been sent out about the whole AJ Styles-Roman Reigns rivalry. He wants to clear the air. He is not a liar. He is going to beat Roman Reigns on his own. He's won championships everywhere he's been, and he's done it on his own merit. He plans on doing that at Extreme Rules. He doesn't need Anderson and Gallows, but before he can really, finish his point and really state his case, Roman Reigns music hits. He comes out, and it's pretty much the same song and dance that we've been kind of used to. Roman just saying, you've done a lot. You've won championships all over the world. But more or less, it really doesn't matter to me until you win the championship. And he makes a gesture to the WWE World Heavyweight title.
God, that's annoying.
And more or less implying, you're not going to be able to do it anyway without Anderson or Gallows. And I think Roman was getting ready to say about himself, because I'm the guy. And AJ, I got to say, I did love this. And he said, we get it already. We've all heard it. You're not a good guy. You're not a bad guy. And the crowd was even kind of saying parts of it with him. I could hear.
Oh, wow. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I think people have already gotten so conditioned by it and so used to it. Like, you could just recite it along with AJ mockingly. And he said, you're the guy that I'm going to beat at Extreme Rules for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
That was a good line. I liked that.
Yeah, you know what, AJ, I think because you've got two subpar mic workers, it's kind of forced AJ to up his game just a little bit.
Yeah, and he's kind of becoming like, I mean, it's not really a ring general, but like the guy that kind of does the leading on the mic.
Yeah.
I mean, he was already a ring general, but that's
right.
Like, he's becoming like the ring general of the mic work he's doing with Roman. Like, he's doing the leading.
Exactly. And then
he's the mic general, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got Anderson and Gallows. They come out. They look like they're about to start something with Roman. But then I guess on the other side, the Usos had come out. They join with Roman. And then AJ steps up to Roman. Looks like he's going to, initiate the skirmish here. And Roman shuts that down with the right hand. That sends AJ out of the ring. And then Anderson and Gallows kind of restrain AJ. They say, save it for Sunday. And AJ's just telling Roman, it's coming. Sunday I take your title and all that good stuff. So the Bloodline, which, by the way, Roman did have a line in here where he said the Bloodline's going to show that they're better than the club because he said you could call on Anderson and Gallows, but I'll call on the Usos. And, the Bloodline does stand tall in this segment. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. Set a good tone. I mean, I've enjoyed the build for this rematch in the program between AJ Styles and Roman Reigns. It's just, it's just so obnoxious, you know, like the whole bloodline thing. And, you know, like you said to me in conversation, you had a really great point. If you could just treat it like Roman Reigns is approaching everything as a heel, he's such a good heel.
Yeah.
But you can't keep up that farce for very long, you know, because then for me, eventually it just breaks down. It's like, you're right, he is a really good heel, but WWE still doesn't market him as a heel. And I just always find that problematic, but this was a good segment nonetheless.
Yeah, man, this was solid. I love just thinking, just like in my mind, in my head canon, Roman Reigns already is a heel, so I don't even have to imagine that he has to turn still because he's already there.
Right, exactly.
Like that crappy song, I'm already there.
I mean, I even joked with you during Payback Live reactions. I would almost want to do like commentary treating Roman like he's in the midst of his thoroughbred gimmick.
Yeah,
you know, because that's just like that's the mindset.
We need to do that. We need to do that during live reactions. Roman Reigns is the thoroughbred,
and we're gonna know if AJ can read clocks because it's Roman Reigns time. But
and if you disagree with that, it's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. So good. That'll never get old to me.
It never will. Not until he does it. And does it like WWE style where he finds something cool and then runs it into the ground.
Yeah, that really would happen too. That is so tragic that you're so right. Any additional thoughts about this segment, or can we move on?
I think we can move on.
All right, what came after this, man?
After this intro segment, we moved into a match, the first match of the night actually, Sami Zayn versus Cesaro, with The Miz and Kevin Owens on commentary. And this is really more about commentary than it is the match, even though the match would have been amazing because we've already seen this match and it was amazing multiple times. But The Miz and Kevin Owens on commentary are really chatting it up, not just talking down the people in the ring, but talking down each other. And Kevin Owens eventually gets to a point where he's just so fed up that he decides, screw it, he's going to leave. So he goes to leave. And as he's leaving, he notices The Miz hasn't really diverted his attention from yelling at the commentators his opinions because he thinks they matter. So he attacks The Miz. And then after he clobbers The Miz, he grabs the Intercontinental title and goes to walk away. But I guess he didn't clobber The Miz hard enough because The Miz comes back, attacks Owens. But, I mean, clearly Owens is the better fighter, so he gets the upper hand relatively quickly despite The Miz having the sneak attack on his hand. And Owens not only gains the upper hand, but then throws Miz into the ring, literally into like the middle of the ring, not just up against it, and goes in there after him. But Sami Zayn's like, oh, Kevin Owens is entering the ring. I have an opportunity to punch his face. And he does.
Yeah, because, I mean, they just cannot resist beating the crap out of each other.
I mean, yeah, it's the best.
So they engage in that. Cesaro and Miz renew their business from Payback. And then Shane comes out and more or less, you know, getting down to brass tacks, it seems like we're going to get a rehash of SmackDown, Cesaro and Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens and The Miz. Now, just to put this in its proper context, guys, because I know we don't do SmackDown interviews anymore, but I'll still occasionally watch the YouTube clips. That tag team match did happen on SmackDown, and there was a breakdown. Sami Zayn accidentally hit the haluva kick on Cesaro. Kevin Owens would hit the 6-star frog splash on Cesaro for the pinfall win, but then Miz would hit the skull-crushing finale on Kevin Owens. So both teams had their fair share of turmoil. Stephanie picks up on this, so she comes out and she reminds Shane, well, you know, if you saw SmackDown, you know that those teams don't really work. And by the way, Kevin Owens would agree because he had line of the night. You gave me the worst one.
Yes!
Fucking love Kevin Owens. And he had some great lines before the whole skirmish too, but I won't even go over.
So good. Stephanie's like, Kevin, you're going to team with The Miz. And he's just like, he's the worst one!
He is just consistently one of the best personalities that WWE has right now.
It was this perfect blend of anger, shock, and horror because he was angry that he was going to have to team with The Miz. He was shocked that they were going to do this match again after he wasn't in a match already. And he was horrified because he knew that he was on a team with The Miz.
Right.
Like, I just love Kevin Owens' expressions. And I don't even just mean facial expressions. I mean just the way that he expresses himself overall, whether it's the facial expressions, the sort of tone changes that he's able to do, everything, the body language, everything. He's amazing. He's awesome.
Yeah, hashtag KO for Money in the Bank 2016. Trend it. But, yeah, he He killed it. He's the worst one. Line of the night, easily for me. But then, Stephanie's like, well, because of SmackDown, that those teams didn't really work out, so I think it would be better if The Miz teamed up with Cesaro, and then immediately Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens know where this is going, and they have this look on their face, and Sami Zayn teams with Kevin Owens. And Kevin, if you even think about walking out on Sami Zayn tonight, don't even bother showing up at Extreme Rules. I like that too. It's taking Kevin Owens' heel personality into account, and it forces him in this situation. And then Stephanie is just like, and Kevin, who knows? This might rekindle your friendship. Oh my God, so good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is our tag team match, bro. Miz and Cesaro versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. What did you think of this, bro? I'll give you the ball.
I'll tell you
first
what
on
I
this one.
think. I really wish we would have recorded live reactions to this because this was so much fun.
This was so good.
We got a Kevin Owens hot tag. I never thought I'd see the day.
And dude, he owned that hot tag.
Oh, yeah.
Like, missile drop kick followed up with a cannonball. Like, what? Oh my God, he is amazing. And here's the thing too, I loved just like the chemistry between these two, which everybody would obviously know is going to be there given their history. But like the arguing and the bickering. Oh, you standing in the ring, that's why we could have won the match just now, but you standing in the ring, that's why we didn't. Like Kevin Owens just taking the piss out of Sami Zayn out of every opportunity. They steal tags from each other. Granted, Miz and Cesaro did the same thing, but they're even able to steal tags from each other, or Owens and Zayn with more personality. Like, it's just, I don't know. It was incredible, dude. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Everybody on Twitter that I could see thoroughly enjoyed it. And I love it, though, right? Because the finishing sequence, Miz throws Cesaro out of the ring when he's about to do the Cesaro swing.
You forgot something hilarious.
Which was?
Well, towards the beginning of the match, when it was The Miz and Sami Zayn wrestling, the crowd was chanting, "You can't wrestle!" And Kevin Owens on the apron yelled, "You hear what they're saying about you, Sammy?"
He is so good, dude. Oh my God. So good. But yeah.
Yeah, the finishing sequence was amazing too. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Cesaro, I believe he was going to do this swing to Kevin Owens, I want to say. And Miz...
No way. It had to be Sammy, right?
Well, I mean, with Cesaro's strength, would it really surprise anybody if it was Owens? But you know what, for the sake of argument, let's just say it was Sammy, just so I can continue.
No, how would Cesaro do the swing to Owens when they were on a team together?
Well, no.
Oh, no, you're right. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused.
Yeah, anyway, Cesaro's going to do the swing to Owens. Miz throws Cesaro out of the ring. Miz is going to attempt to do the swing. Yeah. And he's got this smirk on his face like he's so proud of himself.
No, it was Sammy. It was Sammy because then, because Sammy was the one that got the winning pinfall.
Okay. So Cesaro tried doing the swing to Sammy. Miz threw him out of the ring. Then Miz tried to do the swing, gets a smirk on his face, everything. Then Cesaro comes in, hits the skull-crushing finale, so he steals Miz's finishing move. But then Kevin pulls out Cesaro and he disposes of him, which leads to the opening of Sammy being able to hit the haluva kick on the Miz. Yeah. And Sammy once again, because I feel like the last time he did this was, what was it, just last week? Second time now he's pinned the Intercontinental Champion.
Oh, pinned him. Well, I thought you were going to talk about holding it up.
No.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, because, I mean, remember, he got into the Intercontinental Championship mix by beating the Miz in a non-title match.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, this is the second time he's pinned Miz now, so Sammy's got a ridiculous amount of momentum. But then, of course, I love the post-match because Kevin Owens super kicks Sami Zayn, lays him out, and then he's like, I won the match too! I won the match too! And he forces the ref to raise his arm. I won that match! And here's the thing, he's not necessarily wrong. Again, he pulled Cesaro out, so Cesaro couldn't protect the Miz. You know, Kevin Owens facilitated Sammy to have that opening to hit the haluva kick to begin with. So, Kevin's just up on the ramp, and he's saying, I'm taking my Intercontinental Championship. You know, really confident that he's going to beat all three guys. And I think I even, like somebody that I read regularly or what have you, even predicted that because Miz was standing tall on SmackDown and somebody else on a prior Raw and all that stuff, it was going to be Kevin Owens' turn to stand tall. tonight, and that's exactly what happened. So I really loved how this match and just like the post match, Kevin Owens just reminding Sami Zayn, "I hate you," was just so well done.
It was really good, and this whole match was a lot of fun. Do we
Oh,
want to move on?
excellent. Yeah, absolutely.
Up next, we had a Renee Young interview with Chris Jericho, which was again hilarious because in the middle of his promo, he says something about how his jacket belongs in the Smithsonian, and then he kind of like gives this little nod to Renee Young, and he's just like, "That's a museum."
I love it. He's such a douche.
He's like the king douche right now. He and Owens really are best friends.
I know. You know, I mean, that's why
I want to see him, Owens, and Miz versus Zayn, Cesaro, and Ambrose on SmackDown.
that would be amazing. But he more or less tells Renee, you know, what I'm expecting from Dean Ambrose is an apology because he's just infuriated. That jacket, again, part of my legacy, $15,000, all the usual stuff. And Ambrose better apologize. And then I think he more or less tells Renee, beat it. And then he goes back into his locker room. So,
Of course he does.
what a sourpuss.
Yeah. Up next, though, we had our third match of the night, which was the Shining Stars versus two guys whose names were totally not Skylar, what's his face, and the other guy.
Yeah, Corey Hollis.
John Skylar and Corey Hollis, yeah.
Yeah, dude, it is good to see Primo and Epico doing what they do best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really be grade A in-ring performers because damn was this match fire. It was brief, but it was fire. And I gotta say, man, I don't know why I never took notice of Epico before. I always felt like I was more fixated on Primo, you know, because he is the brother of Carlito and all that stuff. And it's always been said, like, oh, my brother always loves wrestling more than I do, and, you know, things like that. But Epico really showed up here. Oh my God. I mean, folks, we did live reactions. I encourage you to watch them. But easily what made me mark out the most and fall in love all over again immediately with these guys. Epico, the back suplex, German suplex, brainbuster. Like, what? Where have you been all my life? Oh, wait, I know. You were being matadors. You were never supposed to be matadors. You're wrestlers, damn it. Oh, my God. Dude, what did you think, man?
Dude, I love these guys. I just wish the WWE wasn't so intent on being half-assed with everything.
I know, and I know what you're getting at, right? The whole abuse of shining stars or shining star or what have you.
Well, no, I mean, that's not even what I have a problem with. I mean, yes, that is an issue just because, like, this is why I think it's an issue. When I say they go half-ass, I mean they don't ever fully commit to a gimmick. Like, you know, when Leo Kruger had his hunter gimmick, he didn't actually hunt anyone. He just kind of dressed like a hunter. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, these guys are obsessed with Puerto Rico. Their names should have been Puerto and Rico.
Wow. Wow. I don't know, man. I mean, I can see what you're getting at, right? Like, if you're going to have a gimmick of a certain kind, you know, you really should either commit or get off the pie, you know? I don't know. I wish there was more creativity. That's my whole issue. I mean, you even sent me and conversation while we were watching this because their theme is already out. The Shining Stars. The theme is called Shining Star.
And
like,
so is their finisher.
Yeah, the Shining Star. You know, now I'm not saying that this is a good name, right? I'm not trying to give myself credit. In fact, I even kind of think the name's crap. But even if you wanted to say, like, the double team finisher, like a pummeling from paradise, because they always say Puerto Rico's paradise, or something like that, but using Shining Star over and over again, it just, I don't know, it just kind of wears off after a while. I like the name for them, the Shining Stars, because you could take that a multitude of ways. But I think when you're trying to apply it in so many different contexts...
If it wasn't for Kofi Kingston, this would have been the perfect opportunity to call their finisher Trouble in Paradise.
Oh my God, you're so right. Damn you, Kofi. Although 2009 really was your best year ever.
We'll refer to that later. Yeah, this is amazing. But dude, I love too. Did you see Max Landis' tweet about these guys?
No, I didn't. What did he say?
Oh my God, he was like, he was like mocking the writers, and it was like, got a new heel gimmick for Primo and Epico. Okay, hit me. They want you to take a vacation. What? They want you to take a nice vacation. Like, that's it. They just really want you to go to Puerto Rico.
Right. Oh, man.
I love Max Landis.
And you know what, though? Like, the beautiful thing is, and I want to be right about this, I'm hoping these guys can get the heat they're looking for, because I want to believe that what they do in the ring is just so beautiful and so crisp and so perfect. It doesn't even matter how redundant the gimmick is. It's still going to work. So here's to hoping that I'll be proven right in the long run, because I want to see these guys versus everybody, and I know you do too. So this was an amazing debut. Again, guys, if you want to see us in our absolute pure fandom, I highly recommend you go and check out our live reactions to their debut. It was worth it. Trust me. We were smiling from ear to ear.
Yeah, dude, this was fun. That suplex trio, dude.
Oh, love.
You're like just exploding in your pants at the idea of these suplexes being awesome.
I mean, I won't deny that there definitely was a wardrobe malfunction of some kind. So, make of that what you will. Anything else you want to say about this, bro?
No, let's move on. Up next, Ambrose comes out, and he challenges or calls out or whatever you want to call it, Chris Jericho.
I'm gonna ask you something straight up, Ashton.
Okay.
Because like I'm gonna field this to you, and I'm only asking, right? Because I noticed some interesting comments like on my timeline on Twitter when Ambrose got around to the big reveal of this promo, and they said they felt like it was some of the best work he's done in a while. Like, what did you feel about what Ambrose personally did in this segment tonight? Do you feel like he brought the fire? Do you feel like it was good stuff that got you invested, or were you just kind of mad about the whole thing? Like,
No,
where are you with this feud?
It's so funny you say that, because I was going to ask you a question too.
Okay.
I think that this before Jericho comes out, Ambrose was just kind of, paint by numbers. Let's get Jericho out here.
Right.
But then it picked up so much when Jericho started talking.
Yeah.
And I want to also say, when Jericho passed it back to Ambrose and Ambrose started talking about the match they were going to have, that's the Ambrose that I don't think we've ever gotten on the main roster. That's the Ambrose that I wanted from FCW.
And see, I was hoping you'd say that, because honestly, really honestly, the only kind of quote-unquote nitpick I had, I didn't really know if the music playing in the background was necessary. I could have taken it or left it.
Dude, I loved that. That and the lights, it created such a great atmosphere for Ambrose.
Yeah, I can agree. I just think sometimes, like, I listened a bit too much to the music when I really wanted to concentrate on his promo, and I'm like, but you know what? I really do think you're right, especially with the cage lower. Well, you know what? Let me just backtrack, because Jericho did amazing work here. And Jericho pretty much says, like, oh, you want to match Extreme Rules, you've got it. But you know something, Ambrose, people around here, they call you a lunatic, like it's some kind of joke or this or that. No, I'm the biggest lunatic around here. There is nobody crazier than me, and I've beaten them all. All of your lunatics, all of your mutated giants, all of your pro athletes, I've seen them come, I've seen them go, and I've beaten them all. And he more or less says, I'm going to beat you at Extreme Rules. So yeah, you've got your match. And Ambrose says, well, I'm glad you said that, because he made a joke earlier that made Jericho go on that tangent. Things may be getting a little too extreme for you, a little pot shot at Jericho's age. And then Jericho saying, I'm a 6-time world champion. I've done all this stuff, running down the accolades. And then we get it. Probably one of the highlights of Ambrose's career post-Shield. And I don't really think that's hyperbole too much, because I really feel like Ambrose killed it here. The cage lowers. Again, we get this music playing, and to Jericho's credit, he is such a great heel foil in this moment, because he was speaking only a few seconds prior with such bravado and such an egoism, and you could see as that cage is lowering, at the same time the cage is lowering, the air is just being driven out of Jericho's lungs.
Dude, and the way that he sold this was amazing.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, I've been on a little bit of a Jericho kick lately, mainly, like, his 2001 to 2003 stuff, and I love how, like, all these years later, I mean, I would certainly hope so, over a decade, he's reinvented himself to be, like, this real curmudgeon, so serious and, like, astute, like, I'm so intelligent and so wealthy. It really is quite a 180 when you look at his early heel work, and he does it so well, because he's like, what's that? What is that, Ambrose? You tell me what that is. And Ambrose is saying, well, this is my asylum. You know, I went to Shane McMahon. Shane said I could have any match that I want. And it's a steel cage, but it's got all these weapons around it. We've got a 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire. We've got a potted plant. I think I saw a straitjacket.
Yeah.
I think I saw a mop and a bucket. I mean, Ash, did you say anything that I might be missing?
Did you mention the 2x4 with barbed wire on it?
I did. Was there also a straitjacket? Because I felt like there was a straitjacket.
I don't think it was a full straitjacket. I think it was like a torn up straitjacket, like the remains of a straitjacket. There was a leather strap.
Yeah, there was a leather strap. You're right. Good catch. Good catch. And Ambrose is pretty much saying, like, you know, and I know it, and I'm so glad he addresses too. I'll tell you, this segment really hit everything. He's probably thinking, oh, well, you know, I could climb over the top and escape that way, or I could go through the door. But in the asylum, there is no escape. And Jericho's face is like Ambrose is talking. It's funny when you look at their expressions back to back, right? Because Ambrose, it becomes increasingly more menacing and intense and into it. And Jericho becomes more perplexed and more fearful. Like, what's happening? What's happening to me? What's going on? What is that? Will somebody tell me what that is? And he's just losing his shit. And Ambrose more or less tells Jericho, Ashton, when you're locked in here with me, you suffer, you scream, you cry, and there is no escape. And I'm like, where the fuck have you been? Like, we have waited for you forever. Oh my God, this was so good. This was so good. Like, if I'm Jericho, I've realized, oh my God, I have been doing this for, again, well over a decade. And the biggest, most fatal mistake of my career was destroying a potted plant. Like, it sounds absurd, but then when you hear Ambrose's voice and you see his face, you know that Jericho stepped in it.
And now Mitch Jr. is back for revenge.
And Mitch Jr. is back for revenge. And here's the crazy part, right? And I say this with all the sincerity in the world. You have got two guys where the stakes in this feud couldn't be any more ridiculous. And yet they sell it with such sincerity, like I'm into it. And I can tell you people on TWitWoW were into it by the comments I was reading on the Raw thread. And it just shows you the quality and the caliber of performer involved when you're talking about Ambrose and Jericho, when the stakes are just pride, you know, personifying like these material possessions or talk shows or whatever, and they could sell it so fucking straight, like you think this is a really like dramatic thing. And I mean, you had a word when you said like you like the music and everything, atmosphere. And that is something I will wholeheartedly agree with you. This segment was dripping with atmosphere, and I loved it. I mean, dude, I feel like I've talked enough. Do you have any additional remarks that you want to make about this whole thing? Because I thought this was gold.
Dude, honestly, as succinctly as I can put it, when Ambrose cut that promo and he finally got done talking, the only thing that I had to say was it's about time, because this was the Dean Ambrose that I've wanted for so long.
Dude, this was the Dean Ambrose that should have been gunning for Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God, yeah. Why would you say that? Now you've got me angry.
Well, I mean, right though? Like, you should be. And not even that the feud was bad, right? I mean, I enjoyed it, but I would much rather have a Dean Ambrose talk like this to Seth Rollins than to rig a briefcase that spews green slime in his face and hair. Like, yeah, I had a good laugh at that segment, but this is a segment that ingrains itself into your brain. You don't forget about it the morning after.
Right.
And that's the kind of impression, that's the kind of mark that Dean Ambrose has imparted to me. And this was an experience. Like, I really got to say, and talking about it with you in depth now and getting all this out, this was easily segment of the night for me. And I just now realize it. Like, I don't think anything topped this the rest of the night because of what they accomplished here. Great stuff.
Yeah, this was phenomenal. And not the AJ Styles kind either, because this was phenomenal as far as the talking segment goes.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Yeah. All right, up next, though, we got Dana Brooke backstage, just randomly showing up, you know, walking up to this one random dude and just kind of being really mean to him, like telling him that he needs to start working out and wear clothes that make it seem like he cares and that kind of stuff, like just being just completely savage.
Yeah. oh, well, if you had a different body and a different face, you'd be
And
the
a different
first guy I'd
face
call.
too, yeah. And if you change your face,
Like, come on, Dana. That's something me and Ash didn't do, invoking the face. You haven't earned the right.
no, she really hasn't. And even if she thought that she earned the right, she needs our permission.
Exactly. Where's our goddamn royalty check?
We need to pull a Fine Bros and trademark the term "your face."
Yes! Why didn't we think of it before? I need to call the law offices of Otunga and Otunga.
Yes!
But yeah, dude, this was cringe. And was the match after this? Because I have something I want to say about Dana Brooke, but I want to do it appropriately.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. And I don't mean to be mean when I say this, but to me, like, it really is kind of a travesty that Dana Brooke got called up over certain acts, because you can still see where she needs work in my mind, even in ring. Like, I get that I think she's grown on people as a personality, and I don't even think I'm stretching that, because I really do feel like she has fans in that regard.
No, she's got fans because she spent the last, 8 months doing nothing but being Emma's lackey, basically.
Right, which she was really good at.
She's an amazing supporting actress, but she's not a lead.
Exactly, and
more importantly, she's not a wrestler.
Right.
Not yet, at least. I mean, she's getting there, but she's definitely not there yet.
And that's just it, Ashton. She's getting there, but she's not there yet. And I just kind of got that vibe watching this match. And you know something's messed up, right? Because let's all just remember who's talking here. I mean, I have a nickname here, Johnny Scumbag. I've said explicitly, I revel in laughing at the failures of others. And yet, when Becky Lynch got pinned in this match, all I could really think to say was, I'm sorry. Like, I'm so sorry, Becky, that this is where you are right now. Like, you went from being in really the match at WrestleMania this year to losing to Dana
I think she'll
Brooke.
be back in that picture by WrestleMania next year, honestly.
I think she will too. I mean, make no mistake, Ashton, I'm right there with you. I think Becky is somebody where she's kind of like a rubber band in the sense that you could really stretch her, you could really do all this stuff to her, but she'll bounce back to where she started, in that upper echelon. I have no doubt about that. It's really a perplexing time we live in. Dana Brooke getting the win here. And they made a big stink too, and I should have seen it coming because, Dana Brooke only beat Becky last time because of Emma. But now Dana, I should say, did it on her own. And might I just add, she did beat Becky clean. She didn't hold on to the ropes for leverage or anything like that. Yeah. She caught the legs and she did it clean, which, honestly, if I did have a nitpick, that would probably be it. I mean, you can't give Becky a little something here. It's Dana. I don't know.
And the thing is, I kind of piggybacking off of what you were saying, Becky doesn't really have any reason to complain about, oh, Dana Brooke, you beat me, but it wasn't fair, because it was.
Right.
That's kind of been what Becky has, thrived on for the last 6 months is, yeah, you beat me, but, and she doesn't have the but in this case.
Exactly, and it's a shame because, I mean, we were even saying when Becky was on her road to WrestleMania and, the championship matches, prior to that, such a good babyface and can really bring the fire and is obviously a complete performer in ring. But you need that credibility. You need that leg to stand on. Sooner or later, but just becomes met with a kind of indifference. Yeah, Becky, we've heard it before. Yep. And she deserves better than that. I don't say that as a criticism. I say that as a positive appraisal of this woman's ability, that she can go, okay? And she should always have that fallback. Oh, well, they grabbed the ropes. Oh, well, I got, thumbed in the eye. But also, ultimately, to get her win.
John, I mean, with this whole transition to the women's division, we wanted the WWE to treat the women more like they treat the men, and we officially have our first female version of 2013 Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, we really do. Oh, my God. Anything else you want to add?
Not really, no. Up next, we had our second of 2 so far, Make Darren Young Great Again vignettes.
What did you think?
I love it, man. I think this is awesome. Can I just say, I know that Bob Backlund probably has no clue that he's doing it, but he's literally Hillary Clinton.
I know, right? The disconnect with the youth and just modern advancements, and oh my God. Because how did it all start? Like, Bob Backlund, didn't he ask, like, can you check your watch or what's the
Darren,
time?
can you tell me what time it is? And he pulls
That's
out his
right.
phone. What are you doing making a call?
No, Mr. Backlund, I can check the time on my phone. What? No, you wear a watch to tell your time. You use the phone to do phone calls. And, like, it was just this whole
But I've got
thing.
everything on my desktop here. I've got a calendar. I've got, all this stuff. No, you're going to take your calendar and you're going to put it up on the wall, and you're going to take your desktop and you're going to put it on top of your desk. We need to get you organized, Mr. Young.
And you know what? 100 squats. Are you serious? This is really happening? Oh,
Make
for
it
that?
200.
200 squats. All right. And he starts doing them. We're going to make Darren Young great again.
That sound clip has gotten classic already, too.
This
like that sound clip, that we're going to make Darren Young great again. Instant recognition right now.
Right. And, dude, I'm loving it. I know you're loving it, too. It's just so good. And I
kind of hope that exact sound clip from Bob Backlund is what starts Darren Young's theme song.
Yeah, dude, you just made me realize, because Titus still has like the primetime players theme. Yeah. I hope Darren gets a new theme, and that's like the
even
intro
if he doesn't,
soundbite.
Even if he doesn't get a brand new theme, I hope that if he goes back to the solo theme that he used to have, I hope that they just add that sound clip at the beginning of it.
Yes, dude. Like, here's the
kind of
thing.
Like what they did with The Rock, where he originally had his music, and then they added the "If You Smell" at the beginning of it.
Right.
I want them to do that with D. Young.
Oh, that'd be so good. See, dude, I try and not let, like, the ongoings of WWE, like, the storylines and everything else, get away from me in terms of, like, my excitement and the possibility, because I know more often than not, it's going to be beating the ground and they're going to force me to watch it. So, I don't know what the culmination of all this is going to be, but I hope Darren Young gets to do something really cool. Like I mentioned on Tweetov, like Money in the Bank maybe, or just some cool matchup. Maybe even he gets a mid-card title run. I don't know which is the less prestigious of the two mid-card titles. I'd say probably US at this point, given the attention that the IC title's gotten. So maybe Darren Young could even get a US title run down the road. I just really love it, and I'm hoping Bob Backlund can take him somewhere. I think Bob Backlund is so perfect for Darren Young, because Darren Young has a charisma about him, and I think being able to play off of Bob Backlund, I'm already digging it. Like, 2 weeks to this and, like, these vignettes, I already am just, like, so much more invested in this than Golden Truth, which WWE has tried to make me invested in for, like, 2 months. If not longer, because it felt like an eternity. It felt like
4 months. 4 months. We figured this out in Tweetov. 4 months.
Oh, that's right.
It's been going on since late January, yeah.
And see, I just simplified everything, because I was like, well, it's felt like 5 months multiplied by eternity, because that was just so painful. But this, this is just amazing. Yeah. Oh, man. Make Darren Young great again. I'm hoping we can, man. I'm really hoping we can.
Oh, man. Yeah, I love Bob Backlund, though.
So good. So crazy and so good.
And with that, we've got to throw out one Bob Backlund joke, right?
Okay, which one you got? Because I don't got any. You packing any?
Bob Backlund once hit a home run during a game of Connect 4.
That does sound something like you would do, too. Oh, my God.
All right, and with that, let's move on. Up next, we've got a Golden Truth video. Or no, I'm sorry, I skipped one line ahead. Stephanie and Shane in their office. They actually were watching the Make Darren Young Great Again vignette, which I love. Gotta emphasize that because that's well produced. I like that they used that as a smooth transition. And then, we have Steph and Shane in their office. The Dudley boys come in, though. John, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, and the Dudley boys, more or less it comes down to, look, we've been hearing all this talk about the new era, and we wanted to remind you what two guys from the Attitude Era can offer. And I feel like they were, I remember what they asked for now. And I think Devon propositioned Stephanie for, well, maybe you could give us two young, like, North Carolina kind of guys, two scrubs from North Carolina tonight in a tag team match. And Shane and Stephanie pretty much say, well, we're not going to do that for you, because it is a new era, and we're not going to give you two, like, small-time guys from North Carolina. We're going to give
it's so funny that they said that about the Dudley boys, because they gave that to the Shining Stars.
Yeah, really. It's like, we already did that once tonight, We've already exhausted the possibility to do that, for you guys.
Come on, guys. We only hired two local talents tonight.
Exactly, yeah. Don't stop breaking my balls, Bubba. But,
breaking my balls, Bubba.
breaking my balls, Bubba. But Shane tells him, like, you're gonna take on somebody that's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that.
I love face Stephanie McMahon. Can I just say that?
Well, wasn't it Shane that said that line though?
Yeah, it was, but Steph did the finger wag with him.
Oh my god, yeah, face Stephanie. I don't even know if you could call it face Stephanie, but like put on Stephanie.
Oh no, it
her.
is definitely face Stephanie right now. Even if it's only temporary, that's definitely she's a
Right, right. I enjoy it too. It's so refreshing.
It is.
Like I'm almost prepping my groan for when it stops because you know it's gonna have to stop eventually. But
dude, I feel like as soon as Triple H shows up, that's when it's gonna stop. He's gonna insert himself into Money in the Bank this year.
Steph, what are you doing?
You're being nice. You're giving the people what they want.
So sad that's gonna happen. But then, pretty much you're gonna take on Big Cass, but one of you is, decide amongst yourselves who's gonna face Big Cass tonight, and then they leave. And then Shane is, he looks at Stephanie like, oh, or no, before that, they pretty much talk about how they need to iron out their communication because Stephanie mentions, oh, what you did with the whole Ambrose Asylum. And he's like, oh, made it better. And she's like, right, but, I wasn't really included. And Shane's like, well, oh, how you included me in what you did at the tag match tonight? And Stephanie's like, well, what, made it better? And he's like, yeah, made it better. And Stephanie's like, I just feel like we should communicate better. And he's like, all right, I agree with you there. And then we get around to him just asking her, how you doing? In the whole Enzo and Cass style. And Stephanie's like, you're crazy. And she walks off. So I'm hoping they can work out their issues because these two as baby faces, it's been a lot of fun. And I don't bemoan authority figure segments now with these guys having the dispositions that they do. So I'm just enjoying the ride.
All right. Up next, we had our Golden Truth video package. This was like 3 minutes of Kid Rock playing in the background, going over the entire Golden Truth drama that's been happening.
Oh my god, and like Kid Rock, I mean, way to put the cherry on top of the shit.
Oh yeah, it was either Kid Rock or a really, really good Kid Rock cover band. And when I say good in this case, it's specifically referring to how much they sound like Kid Rock, not actually the quality of their music.
Exactly, because, it's so funny that earlier in the show, you said that you just wish that WWE would really commit to gimmicks like the Shining Stars. WWE really committed to shoving this shit down my throat and making it taste as awful as possible. Yeah. Please, I already said I liked it after the first segment. Please don't do this anymore. Or keep eating it. It's not over.
Oh, like the chocolate cake scene in Matilda.
Oh, God, that was so repulsive, but you're so right. Oh, and they do the clips, and Goldust is old, and like...
It's funny, because you're like the most sheltered person I know, and you've still seen Matilda. I think everyone in our generation has seen that movie.
I know, right? That's my claim to being a 90s kid, so there you go. Yeah, the video package was... I mean, I'm gonna level with you, Ashton. I did watch part of it, but, like, this was one of the few parts of the show where I did look away from the computer.
Oh, wow, you missed it then!
I missed what, exactly?
Febreze won!
Well, no. I'm not talking about the match. Oh. I'm talking about the video package.
Oh.
No, I saw that excellence.
Well, the video package was delightfully corny, but it led us into the match.
Yes. Oh, my God. Breeze Zongo, as they call themselves, but we prefer, I think on Twitter, we're going to call them Febreze, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, because we're less worried about copyright.
Exactly.
What are you going to do, Febreze? Sue us for using your name?
Yeah, your product sucks. Actually, I wouldn't know. I haven't done extensive testing with it, but I'm probably right.
Well, so, I appreciate the disclaimer, at least.
Yeah, no lawsuits here. But,
I mean, we weren't going to get sued, but we might get hit with some defamation lawsuits if you keep that shit up.
Otunga and Otunga law.
Yeah!
So, but no, dude, like, in all seriousness, this is just so funny because... Did you let me ask you, right?
I feel like I called this, didn't I?
Did you call? Because I was getting ready to ask you if you got a feeling that Golden Truth is going to lose their debut match.
Oh, dude, I feel like we literally, I'm not even joking. I feel like literally like a month ago, we were talking because, Breeze and Fandango were in the picture. And I even said, how great would it be if these guys switched partners, we got Golden Truth, and then Fandango teamed up with Breeze, and the Golden Truth lost? I literally said that on an episode of TWitWoW like a month ago.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that now that I think back.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And the best thing about it all is it happened because of a miscommunication on the part of Golden Truth.
Right.
They want you to think, oh, when we come together, it's going to be magical. It's going to be an experience. Yeah, it's going to be an experience for Goldust to get kicked in the face. Like,
yeah, this was an experience right up until the match actually started.
Exactly.
Because the entrance was fun.
Yeah, the entrance
Although, they either need to get a proper theme song for themselves, or the WWE needs to do a proper mashup with their theme song, because as it is right now, it's pretty garbage.
Yeah.
Like, it just starts with Goldust and then goes right into R-Truth. Like, it's worse than Jericho's theme song, which I actually liked.
And I think it actually, oddly enough, we can reiterate your point again about the Shining Stars, but I would really even emphasize it here with Golden Truth. Like, you've been doing this whole long game, right, of will they or won't they, and you finally do it, and it just feels so average.
Yeah.
Like, I thought you would have had a remix theme prepared.
Well, you know what, though? I agree with the decision to not do that right now.
Right.
Because
you think
it
they
makes
should
it feel more temporary. It makes it feel like there's the chance that they could break up at any moment.
That is true, and especially given the decision, I could see where you're coming from, and I can kind of soften my criticism, because, like commentary even said, it is like a work in progress. They use some term that I honestly can't recollect, but that's pretty much what they were getting at. It's a work in progress, this and that. So maybe as they win more and they do all this other stuff, maybe then it'll feel more like an actual tag team in that way. Yeah. But they didn't get the win tonight, baby. Febreze got it, and these two...
Can I just say Tyler Breeze is now on a 3-match winning streak?
Yes! And I love that it came right around the time that everybody was bemoaning his win-loss record on the main roster. I just find that so funny.
Went like 100 and some odd matches without a win.
Yeah, well, getting paid. So, really, really happy for those two. And can I just say, too, because we were talking about Tyler Breeze, I'm so happy that Fandango has this. Like, regardless of how long it lasts, at least he's on TV, and he won tonight. Like, he deserves it. Johnny Curtis is awesome. He's really made this work. He's put his bag in everything that he does. And I like the team. I like the look of the team. Because both guys, I mean, they have a great look to them, and then you bring them together. And they're narcissists, so the personalities are totally complementary.
They both have obsessions. One is modeling, one is dancing.
Exactly, and even those obsessions seem almost like they'd be complementary in a sense. Like, it just works to me.
They need to get a mashed-up theme song. That would be incredible.
Damn right they do. Maybe Raven Sidearm could do something. He's
yes.
Yeah, we're gunning for you, man. You heard it. We want it. And we know you can provide. So, yeah, Febreze gets the win.
But you know what? I would want it to be Breeze's old theme song.
Oh, I think you showed that to me once, but it's been so long I forgot. When this show's over, I'm going to have to YouTube it. Let's do it.
It's the old NXT song that he...
Oh, you mean without...
It's like dirty, sexy fun or something like that.
Right. Yeah, I know the song you're talking about, but again, like, I have to go back, because I'm so used to the vocalized theme at this point. I don't know. It's weird, so I have to go back.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Febreze gets the win. This was awesome. Goldust just looking at R-Truth like, what was that? And I'm laughing. Now, see, this is failure that I can laugh at. I was so happy it happened. I'm like, I feel so bad for Becky Lynch, but I'll never feel bad for you two. This was hilarious. So good.
And then, I mean, speaking of failure, they go backstage, and Truth is, like, trying to convince Goldust to stick with him as a partner, and Febreze mocks them.
Yeah! Fandango calls them the Golden Girls. I love it so much.
She's amazing.
Oh, man. And can I just say, too, my one... Because, see, I know I said, like, I didn't have any nitpicks here tonight, and that's true. I stand by that. But I will say my one really cringy moment of the night, Goldust saying, these people want Golden Truth. And
no, we don't.
Yeah, and first of all, no, we don't, okay? Second of all, you get this reaction that I want to say felt phoned in to me. I don't know how you felt about it. It didn't sound organic to me. If it did, hey, people are going to like what they like, and I respect that, obviously. But it still made me cringe. I'm like, why encourage him? Why encourage him? This is just bad. This is just bad. Nobody should be encouraged. Except for Febreze. You guys keep doing your thing, and maybe you get in the tag title hunt. That I
I
wouldn't.
mean, if anything good comes out of this, it's Febreze.
Exactly. It's so funny.
Oh,
Can I
man.
just say the irony here that we're sticking to calling them Febreze. We know that the actual Febreze is an air freshener, and it's actually made this pile of shit known as Golden Truth smell quite delightful from where I'm sitting. So it actually works
That is
at every
an
level.
A+ metaphor, John. I am so proud of you.
I just made the connection, and I'm like, oh my god, I may have just discovered an untraceable pattern in the stock market, but that's for another time.
Hey,
this was great.
Leave that to us metrics people, okay?
I know, right? I'm just trying to get rich over here, but yeah, man, I've said all I can say about this. Febreze for life, Golden Truth. So, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, man. It's sorry, that was random.
No, that was good. No, that was precise, is what that was.
No, I was just, you said I'm trying to get rich over here, and it made me think of Mitch Hedberg.
Okay.
He talks about this whole comedy thing is just a part of my get rich slow scheme.
That's amazing.
But anyway, up next though, we transition from one crappy team and one amazing team that we want to contend for the NXT or for the World Tag Titles to the actual tag champions, the New Day.
Oh my god.
This is why I said that the first 2 hours were so good, because this is the last segment of the second hour.
Right.
Like, everything we've talked about so far has been really good, except for like Dana beating Becky, and that's about it.
Dude, it actually amazes me to a degree that just when I think the New Day can't get any better or push the boundaries any more of like promo work and in-ring segments, they find
talk
a way
about
to
a keyboard being sticky
They talk about a keyboard being
on a
sticky.
fake time machine that they openly acknowledge is a refrigerator box.
I'm telling you, and you know what? This may be me committing an act of hyperbole, but I love these guys so much, I really couldn't care less at this point.
Yeah.
If I was running a wrestling school and somebody was telling me, well, like, how do I get comfortable? How do I do this? I would show them New Day segments, and I would be like, you know what? You want to get comfortable? Don't give a shit first and foremost.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the secret to being comfortable in front of a crowd is to not be afraid to make yourself look like a complete idiot.
Exactly, and the New Day has that down to a science, and I mean that in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we have so many performers, particularly in the WWE, I should add, like this is a WWE-centric criticism, that are so focused on either memorizing their lines or committing to the bullet points or
I'm
being
telling
a
you, man,
certain
that's
way.
why Trump is as popular as he is, because everyone else is not entertaining. They're just these boring public speaker 101 types that read off of cue cards and stuff. And meanwhile, Trump goes out there and he's flashy and he's waving his hands around like crazy and he's insulting people. Like, people are drawn to people like that.
And I have so much I could say about what you just said, but I'm going to rein that in for another time.
Oh, I really wish you wouldn't, but go ahead.
But, New Day, they get it.
Yeah,
And they're just, and the material they do, they push the boundary because what's the worst that's going to happen? And they've even said in interviews, like, what we were doing before, it really couldn't get any worse. Like, we liked it, but we knew we could do more. And so what are you going to do? Put them back in that spot? You wouldn't have the balls to do it with how popular they are at this point.
Dude, they're the #1 merch sellers right now.
Are they really?
Oh my god, yeah, by far.
That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. See, I'm not surprised.
Not only that, but they and AJ are all outselling Roman.
It's except it's not. Shut the hell up.
I love that you almost made it seem like you were a fan of his at first, and then you rejected it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, oh my god. I just love that they're not afraid with a live mic, because I remember the Vince McMahon that I used to respect. One quote that's always stuck with me, his philosophy used to be anyway, well, nothing could go wrong if it's live. Well, New Day's bringing that back. Because when you talk about the week prior, a bygone era, an era that wasn't so kind to people like us, smartphone users, and then the sticky keyboard this week, like, yes, nothing can go wrong if it's live, so long as you own it and you believe it. And they are just so good at doing that. And the whole time machine, I mean, let's just get to that. Now, I have to ask you something, because I did miss this, I think because you and I were laughing so much. I know Xavier Woods said that this was his new DeLorean time machine. What did Big E quip in response to that? Because he said something to Xavier. Like, almost like, do you remember what he said? Because I feel like you laughed at that and I didn't catch it.
I wish I could remember what it was. I feel like that was like, wasn't Biggie the one that pointed out the sticky keyboard?
And you know what? That might have been it. That might have been the quip, is when he mentioned, like, why is this keyboard so sticky? Just so good. And then they go into the time machine. And WWE, they do the special effects, like, little ripples, make it seem like they're traveling through time. And Kofi comes out first to his old theme music, puts on the Jamaican accent, and says, hey, wait, boom, 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 and, just doing the whole Kofi Kingston shtick, Jamaican shtick. And then the New Day pulling back into the time machine because Xavier was like, we haven't gone back far enough. And they're pulling it back. No, wait, no. Leave me here. It's 2009. This is my best year ever. Leave me here.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Just the meta commentary going on here. Because Kofi knew, like, that was the year of my push. I feuded with Orton that year.
Yep.
Leave me here. And then they come out. And it's black and white, so they're in vaudeville, and they've got the mustaches and everything. Now, what did the Bootios turn into? Was it Derriere
Squares?
Derriere Squares. No wonder they prefer a bygone era. The vaudevillains suck. Oh, and Xavier Woods is freaking out because there's no video games.
Yeah.
Dude,
this bygone era sucks. No wonder they like it so much.
Exactly. And I feel like they were getting ready to do their closing line, like, no matter the era, we will still be your, and they were going to get ready to do the hip gyration
WW, yeah.
Yeah, but then the vaudevillains attack.
Yep.
And
can I just say, here's the thing. There was one thing about this specific segment, this part of this segment that I loved, and another part of it that I hated.
Okay, what did you love and what did you hate?
Okay, first of all, I hated that they went back to color.
Right.
That pissed me off because the whole thing with the vaudevillains is that they prefer black and white. So why would you change that?
Yeah, I agree. I think it would have even set a better tone with the beatdown if they did it in their era.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say that I loved, is that I love that the vaudevillains attacked the New Day in their era.
Exactly.
Like, I thought that was freaking awesome, but then they turned the freaking color back on and just completely broke everyone's immersion who was watching on TV.
And it's a shame because, honestly, even little things like that go back to a very early criticism I had of the whole vaudevillains branding. And again, I feel like we're saying this so much about tag teams tonight. You're not really committing enough.
Yep.
Because the best thing that the vaudevillains ever did, now you could correct me if I'm wrong, Ashton, I mean, ever to each their own, I loved the little movies that they did when they were feuding with the Lucha Dragons in NXT. Those pesky Lucha Dragons, and they did, the bombs and this and that, but in a very cartoonish way, silent films. And I loved it. I'm like, that's really pushing the gimmick, and that's packaging it and promoting it the right way. And we don't really see that much anymore. We only really got it that one time. I shouldn't even say anymore. That was really the only time we got a true taste of vaudeville from the vaudevillains, and you could have done that here. And I honestly feel like for as amazing as this was, and I'm not going to diminish it any, but it could have taken it even further with the symbolism and everything in the atmosphere. And you didn't do it, which is a shame too, because the vaudevillains were packing some serious heat. 2 tag team maneuvers that I've never seen them do before.
Including the DWI.
Exactly. Drinking while investing. Not in this era. Because they did, the neck breaker power bomb did Gajin England, which honestly, I do prefer that over the whirling dervish. I liked it at first. I appreciated the simplicity because I felt like it matched the gimmick in a way, but I don't know. Its believability has kind of worn off on me as time has gone on. I mean, maybe that's just a weird thing, for me, just one of my quirks coming into play. But I feel like this is a far more credible double team finisher. That and the other thing that they did, which wasn't necessarily a double choke slam, or it looked more like a double side effect in a way to me. But, they just laid, I think it was Xavier that ate this. Actually, no, Xavier went through the time machine, which was great. Big E ate ring post. And yeah, Kofi, he just got beat down. and they're posing, they're saying, we're going to become the new tag team champions, and that's how you end the segment. This was a great segment to give the tag team title matchup at Extreme Rules. Really enjoyed this.
Yeah, this was fun. And the thing too is, like, I can even admit that, like, when the Vaudevillains attacked, I was super disappointed that the New Day didn't get to finish, and that is great for getting them heat.
Yeah, and speaking of heat, they did get a noticeable reaction tonight of boos from people. What's going to be telling is, can the Vaudevillains sustain it when they're not working with amazing baby faces like the New Day? I'm skeptical of that, but, time will tell. But in this moment, this is a great segment by both teams. And I love that the undercard really seemed to show up tonight for Extreme Rules. And I feel like we've been saying that a lot lately for WWE's pay-per-views, but this go-home show was certainly no exception. I loved it.
Yeah, this was a solid show.
Yeah.
We're not done with it yet, though, because up next, this is where the show took a downturn for me.
Okay.
Match 6, Anderson and Gallows versus the Usos. The match was not bad. Let me just preface this by saying the match was not bad, but it wasn't great either. It wasn't especially good either, and the outcome was garbage.
You know what, Ashton? Something clicked for me while I was thinking about this match, because I knew, like, this is where the show took a dip for you. I think what pisses me off, and I could say this about most Uso matches, I'm so glad I've had this epiphany. It's not necessarily the Usos that I have an issue with.
It's the way they're portrayed.
It's the way they're portrayed. You could say it that way, but the way I was going to say it was their matches lack any tension whatsoever. Because when they just knock out Anderson and Gallows with ease, with double super kicks, where is the tension from a team that is representing, that is backing the number one contender to your, I believe it's cousin is the relation, your cousin's, WWE World Heavyweight Championship in Roman Reigns. You handled them like they were not, I mean, honestly, and I hate to say this because I love Anderson and Gallows as a team to death, but the way they just ate those super kicks and that was it, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between them and a team like the Social Outcasts.
The Usos are literally everything wrong with the Young Bucks with a fraction of the entertainment quality.
Exactly.
Like, everything that you ever hear anybody complain about the Young Bucks for, the Usos are guilty of the same thing. But then you also have the fact that the Young Bucks are actually talented and entertaining and meta, so they're self-aware and just flat out better.
And here's the thing, too, because I think, and, you're not wrong, but I think another thing where I have to absolve the Young Bucks, at least they're in a promotion for the gripes that I may have with Ring of Honor, less so New Japan, but, focusing on Ring of Honor and New Japan because they both fall under this category. I think even with the stuff that the Young Bucks do, that doesn't kind of suck any tension out of the match. They're still able to have the opposition, whoever the Young Bucks are facing that night, have a comeback, look really strong.
I think that kind of what goes into that is a lot because of the fact that, like, people kick out of everything in ROH in New Japan.
And that's true. And that is something that I've held against them in the past.
It's a problem if it gets to go too much, but when people are kicking out of, like, super kicks, like, who cares?
Right, like, I'm just asking, and I've noticed this now, again, with most Uso it's like as soon as those super kicks get rolling, where's the tension? Like, I was just hoping against all hope that Anderson would get the knees up with the Uso splash. Didn't happen, and as soon as it didn't happen, I knew that it was going to be another fucking victory for the Usos, and by proxy, because of this whole thing, Roman freaking Reigns. And, the post-match I felt like was really good. I enjoyed that. So, it kind of took the sting out of this a little bit, but man, there is no tension, no drama, no compelling elements when the Usos get on their roll. And I want to say that they haven't always been that way, but maybe they have, and I've only really started to see it these last couple of years, because even when I was a fan of theirs, maybe it was a problem that I just never registered, and I can own up to that fact. But man, is it bad. Like, oh, poor Anderson and Gallows, man. And they just looked like jokes, just eating those super kicks in succession without the least bit of resistance. So, that was the thing. Is there anything else you want to say about the match before we really unpack the post-match?
No, I mean, not regarding the match itself, but I do have a few things that I want to say about this whole feud.
Right.
First of all, earlier on in the night, Roman said something about, the whole blood is thicker than water thing.
Right.
And I just want to toss it out there that that phrase doesn't mean what Roman thinks it means.
Right.
It's not a phrase to say family is the most important. The original full saying was, and I quote, blood of a covenant is entered is thicker than the water of the womb. So it's actually saying that friends are more important than family.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So good job, Roman. But also, I just wanted to say that we've seen the Usos versus Gallows and Anderson in some respect, whether it's, just 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 with the other guys, Roman and Styles, a grand total of 8 times now in less than a month.
That's insanity. And I've really got to reprimand myself because I was actually delusional enough to be excited about this program when their debut first happened because I actually thought Anderson and Gallows were going to go over.
Yeah.
But I should have realized because the Usos were the more pure WWE property of the two
Yep.
that, of course, they were going to be protected. I should have known better. That's on me. And it's really a freaking shame that Anderson and Gallows had to go down that way, to the Usos tonight, because I think it would have been cool, even if they would have done it dirty, which is fine, because I don't freaking know. It's not even worth the effort, because I know how WWE perceives these guys. We perceive them completely differently. We're just going to keep talking past each other.
Well, and dude, the crazy thing is, even if you don't count the main event match that they still had 7 matches on just Raws and SmackDowns. Like, every single Raw and SmackDown, with the exception of the first week that they debuted, where they didn't have a SmackDown match, they had a Raw match, they faced each other on both Raw and SmackDown.
That's crazy.
Their first match was on a Raw, but they didn't have a match on that SmackDown, but they had a 6-man tag the following Raw where Gallows, Anderson, and Styles won. But then on that week's SmackDown, the Usos won, and then there was another match made that was the Usos and Roman versus the 3 club guys, and the good guys won that match. And then on the following Raw, we had the same thing, the 6-man tag. And then this past SmackDown, we had the Usos versus Gallows and Anderson, and now tonight we had the Usos versus Gallows and Anderson. 7 matches on just Raw and SmackDown in less than a month's time. Yeah. This is why people don't care.
Exactly. I mean, just this almost gluttonous consumption of just the same match, maybe with a different kind of coat of paint, 6-man tag or this, that, or the other.
I'm just waiting for Anderson to have a singles match, man.
Yeah, dude.
Like Anderson versus Cesaro, please.
Yeah, knowing you, the singles match you'll get with, or I should say, knowing WWE, the singles match you'll get would be Carl Anderson versus Jey Uso, just to keep it going. Just to keep it going. But then we get to the post-match, because AJ's checking on, I believe it was Gallows, checking on his partner. Roman walks up to him. They have a stare down, and ultimately, Anderson and Gallows and the Usos, they resume their skirmish on the outside. Their fight isn't over. They're, taking each other out. And then Roman Reigns and AJ proceed to go at it yet again. And it gets to a point where AJ has Roman in a compromising position to use a steel chair, and they've been kind of building up this whole quandary with AJ Styles. Will he use the chair? Won't he use the chair? What have you? And he's getting ready to use it. He's got this look on his face like, screw it. He's getting ready to just blast Roman with it. Roman fights out of the attempt, lays AJ out. Then Roman picks up the chair. He gets a shot on AJ's back. Looks like he's going to do more damage, but then Gallows comes in, gets a right shot on Roman. Chair falls out of Roman's grasp. Gallows tries to build on the offense, but he gets speared. Carl Anderson eats a Superman punch, but then Roman, being distracted with all that, AJ's able to come in. He gets a chair shot to Roman's gut. Then he, I think, nails 2 back shots at least. Really
which is pointless because he's wearing a Kevlar vest.
Yeah. Take the vest off, Roman. The shield's been over forever now. And then,
we should start a petition.
I wish petitions actually really did anything, but
we could get the 100,000 signatures we wanted.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, if you were to do a White House petition, have Roman remove his Kevlar vest. I mean, WhiteHouse.gov would be obligated to submit a response. I know this for a fact because somebody actually submitted a petition for federal funds to be used to build the Death Star, and the White House actually responded to it. So they'd probably be like, well, we don't know who Roman Reigns is, so it's out of our hands.
We have 117,901 people subscribed to the Squared Circle subreddit. We could totally pull it off.
We totally could. But are we that crazy? Oh, who am I kidding? Of course we're that crazy. Well, we'll definitely have to consider our options. But AJ certainly considered his options, because after he was done beating Roman with the chair on the back, he's thinking, oh, well, how can I inflict more punishment? And the way he chose was he laid the chair down, and he got Roman in the Styles Clash position, and he hits the Styles Clash on the chair. And I love this next part because AJ's kind of looking at the championship, and because I'm a sucker for it, I was even screaming at my computer, pick it up, AJ! Pick up that title and pose with it, damn it! You know you want to feel that power! But he doesn't. So that was just a personal preference. I'm not going to hold it against the segment, but AJ, does stare at it. He's like, if I could just do that this Sunday, I'll be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, because, of course, Reigns wouldn't kick out at 2 3/4. And then he goes on the apron, says, Sunday, I'm taking your title, the usual trash talk. And it was nice to see AJ finally lay out Roman and get one on him on a Raw for everybody to see it. Roman Reigns isn't untouchable. This is your proof, everyone. There you go. By the way, I think in this matchup, in this whole thing, and the segment at the start of the show, we did get "We Want Rollins" chants.
Oh, yes. And Roman's response to them in the first segment was so delightfully heelish.
Yeah, you're not getting Rollins. It's Roman Reigns and AJ Styles in the main event.
Bitches.
Oh, my God. I can't wait for Rollins' retort to that when he returns in a few weeks.
3 weeks? It's like 2 weeks and 6 days too long.
I just want... I know Seth would never say it because he'd probably get fired for making Roman look so bad, but he'd be like, excuse me, bitch, what'd you say while you were masquerading as a main event talent with my world title that I never lost?
I don't know, dude. There is a very tiny little seed of doubt in me, because there was a rumor that Vince is kind of over the Roman project.
I want to believe you.
The only reason that I'm even bringing it up is because of how badly I want to believe that it's true.
I could hear the strain in my heart and my mind, like, I want to believe you.
I know.
But, dude,
that's like back when we actually believed that we were going to get the Young Bucks versus the Usos at NXT TakeOver London.
Honestly, in hindsight, I'm actually kind of glad we didn't get that match, because given how
The
Anderson...
Usos would have won!
Yeah, they would have.
Even though Jushin Thunder Liger beat Tyler Breeze in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, that though I could understand. Jushin Thunder Liger earned the right. The bitch is a freaking legend. Like, who'd you ever beat, Usos? Get over yourselves.
I just meant because, like, that's proof that WWE, at least through NXT, is willing to put outside talents over their own.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And that it does kind of soften the blow a little bit, but I'm still highly skeptical, and I feel like you can't blame me for that, because Usos. But I'll tell you what, though, if I'm being perfectly honest, us mentioning Rollins that little bit, for as much as I can't stand just Roman and the bloodline and everything, like, him talking about Rollins that way, even briefly, like, I am excited for these two to come to blows for that world title when Rollins comes back. Like, I think that is a program that I could get invested in, if for no other reason, so I could go back to saying, and you're WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins, and doing the whole thing. Like, I miss doing that on live reactions. I hope I can do it again. So, come on, Seth, we miss you. And after this, we need you. Curb stomp him into next week. I probably won't, but think of something. So, yeah, that was that segment. AJ stands tall. Clearly, Rollins is on everybody's mind, and Finn Balor may or may not be lurking. So, yeah, a lot of stuff's happening right now. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
You should be. Only by a few.
It's funny, too, because Rollins... for those of you that aren't aware, my mom is a huge wrestling fan. She has been watching it with me for probably 16, 17 years now. And she hates Seth Rollins. In general, she pretty much cheers for the faces and boos the heels. Like, she knows it's a work, and she's not like, she doesn't believe that stuff's actually happening or anything like that, but she gets worked pretty hard. But Rollins returns on her birthday, and she's going to mark out for him. I can just feel it.
That's going to be amazing. I feel like we should all mark out for Seth Rollins. And for those of you that may be like, oh, but John, I'm not a fan of Seth Rollins. It's okay.
You're wrong.
Entitled to be wrong at least once in our lives. Yes, that's right. So,
but John, I'm not really a fan of Seth Rollins. Oh, wait for him to prove you wrong when he returns as a babyface and makes you love him.
And he will. You'll all love him. Or so help me. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to finish because we've had so much legal talk on this show. I feel like I'm walking a very fine line. But believe me, Rollins...
Dude, you've got Otunga backing you up. You can say whatever you want.
That's so true. He's the
Donald
greatest
Trump
player.
is a fraud. I'm sorry, your turn.
Hillary Clinton's a crook. Sorry. Got that out there. But,
what were you actually going to say, though?
Well, actually, I forget at this point, but seriously, people, you need to understand, you're only mad at Seth Rollins because you realize he's the person you wish you were. So, either drown your mediocrity,
That's wisdom right there, people.
Yeah, I mean, I could just picture it. Hey, aren't you Seth Rollins? No. I'm Seth Rollins and that guy you wish you were. Kindly jump out the window. You can do it now. Okay. And you know you would. You know you would, and it's okay. Now you're thinking, well, isn't this just Johnny Scumbag talking? No. This is
an entity within you that is not Johnny Scumbag?
See, that is the enlightened question, people, and the answer's no. I mean, it is just pure scumbag all the time. In fact, I've been meaning to tweet at Rick Knox. I'm probably going to when this show's over, and I'm hoping Seth Rollins...
You're all talk. You never do it.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to do it this time. I already gave Evilise flack for her jealousy with Taya, and I'll be giving Roman Reigns flag for his shit that he said about Seth Rollins. You know you're not as good as Seth Rollins. You know it, and it eats away at you. Because
those are all kayfabe insults. You're not going to actually insult Rick Knox for a non-kayfabe reason.
Wouldn't I, though?
No.
Wouldn't I? All right, we'll see.
I'm gonna pull a frickin' Arcus and be like, no balls, you won't, no balls.
no balls, you got no balls. But anyway, enough about my Rick Knox rivalry. That'll certainly get a 3-disc DVD set down the line. What came after this?
Up next was the big cast match where he got to face a Dudley Boy, and it turned out it was Devon.
Yeah, and this was more or less a squash, Ashton. I mean,
it was literally 59 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, all I really remember, big boot to Bubba on the apron because him and Devon almost had a miscommunication. Big Cass catches Devon, hits the East River Crossing, and gets the win. Although I should mention, backtracking very quickly, Big Cass does cut a promo. He calls Devon the Steve Urkel of the WWE. Bubba, I forget what he called Bubba. Do you remember what he referred to Bubba as?
No, he did the stuttering again.
The stuttering gimmick. And then, one word to describe you, and he was about to do the soft, but the Pyro, the Dudleys, cut him off. So when he got
another moment of really good heat.
Exactly. Yeah, you get quality heels like Bad News Barrett walking out the door, and only now, WWE, have you really figured out how to get quality heat for certain acts. Not all yet, but certain acts. It just kind of bothers
because,
them up.
I mean, they're still kind of stuck up on this whole idea that Roman Reigns is a nice guy. So obviously they're not great at getting heat for everyone.
I tried to suppress the sigh, but I couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. He is a heel. They just need to figure out how to get the proper heat for him.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
He's going to be the best heel ever when he finally does turn.
You still believe he's going to turn?
I thoroughly believe that his reception not letting up is a sign that he's going to turn. Even if it's not anytime soon. Even if it's like at WrestleMania 36, he is not going to be Cena and that he's going to be a heel, baby his whole career.
You know what? Your spirit is the most resilient, unrelenting thing I've ever seen, and I commend you. Because I even said...
spirit and biggins even the smallest of man?
Exactly.
Is it a perfectly cromulent word, John?
Oh, look at you. You're totally the opposite of apoplectic right now.
What do you mean? Why are you saying that like that? Have you not watched that episode of The Simpsons?
No, I haven't.
Embiggened and you just said apoplectic. Embiggened and cromulent are not actual real words.
Oh, and here I was impressed for a second.
Congratulations.
That was more on me though. You still get that one. But what was I going to say? Well, after he didn't do the turn to WrestleMania, I even said I'm not doing this for another 10 years. So I'm off. But yeah, man, just great stuff from the Dudleys there, cutting off Big Cass, but then Big Cass finishes when he's done, like I was saying, one word to describe you, and then, soft gets spelled out, which I thought that was clever, because WWE's smart enough to know it's something that's caught on with audiences, they love doing it, and, they don't want to deprive them of that, and I think it was smart timing, too. You have the babyface get the win, and then they can really revel in doing it, so even psychologically, this was sound booking.
I shall
good
call
stuff.
it Chekhov's catchphrase.
There you go. All right, man. Anything else you want to say about this, or can we move on?
Up next, we had Kalisto versus Alberto Del Rio.
You know what? I gotta say though, in terms of the overarching program here, that being Kalisto and Rusev, the program that's being focused on here, I like the build-up. I liked how it was done. I mean, the Del Rio Kalisto matchup was fine. It's just, again, we've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Although I will say, I liked when Rusev initiated the beatdown on Sin Cara, and it started on the Tron, and Del Rio forced him to watch it against the ropes. I thought that was a good heel tactic. Then Rusev and Sin Cara make their way out to the ring, and Rusev's still continuing the beating, and he sends Sin Cara's, his arm and his ribs into the ring post, and Kalisto's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Then Del Rio gets a backstabber, and because of Kalisto's, athleticism and his stature, he's able to sell like death. Del Rio pins Kalisto off of that, so I'm really hoping if Kalisto retains at Extreme Rules, which you're going to get all of our formal predictions this week. TWitWoW Extreme Rules 2016 premium predictions, always a good time, but that Del Rio won't be a contender again. And then, Del Rio leaves. Rusev comes in, says, you want to get in my business, boy? And he gets in the stance, super kicks Kalisto in the back of the head. Then he gets him in an accolade, which, again, because of Kalisto's stature, looks like even more devastating. And oh my God, he's literally, contorting him and breaking him in half. And then Rusev's like, where's the title? Where's the title? And then he takes the title, and he poses with it, and he's feeling all good about himself. So I thought in terms of Rusev and Kalisto, this was well done. I enjoyed this. In fact, I'd go as far as say for me. Yeah.
I just had a realization.
Okay.
This third hour sucking is the New Day's fault.
What?
They took us back in time and changed the timeline.
Oh my God.
I mean, we even had, at the end of the show, we had Stephanie chants. That's not the universe I'm used to.
Yeah, that's like the beginning of the Ruthless Aggression era. Oh my God.
Thanks,
New Day.
Day.
God. What timeline is this?
It's an alternate one, I can tell you that.
Yeah, but I was getting ready to say, before you totally threw me off, blowing my mind there. For me personally, this was an emotionally resonant segment. Kalisto's title reign to me has never felt more important or more emotional than the idea he just saw his friend get the shit beat out of him by Rusev, and then he gets the shit beat out of him himself, won by an old rival in Del Rio who he won the title from, and then Rusev, who is just his most recent opposition down the road at Extreme Rules this Sunday. These are the kinds of moments that I feel like Kalisto's title reign needs if you want to build him into the babyface we all know he can be.
Yep.
So, yeah, dude, I give a big mark of approval on this, definitely.
I don't approve of Del Rio getting the win, but I do approve of everything else that you just went through.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. I'm right there with you.
And even Del Rio getting the win can be forgiven because of the fact that it was a distraction roll-up.
Exactly.
All right. After the match, though, we find out that we're going to get Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin in a no DQ match at Extreme Rules. So that's a thing. It's the kickoff, by the way. The Extreme Rules kickoff. Because Ryback's not around anymore, so we need to have a new, big, talented wrestler in the kickoff show, right?
Exactly.
It's a different David versus Goliath story. But then our main event tonight, progressive as the WWE might try to be, was pretty terrible. The women's championship contract signing, Stephanie starting to introduce Charlotte from the Queen City, but then Ric Flair's music hits. He comes out and he has to do his daughter's intro. So Charlotte comes out and she's just like, all right, so where do I sign? Where do I sign this contract? And it's a contract, Charlotte, you sign it at the bottom. But Shane then introduces Natalya, who comes out and just kind of talks about Rick, and how Rick wasn't there when Charlotte won the NXT Women's title, which is false because he was. Literally, that was the gimmick of the match, was that Rick and Bret Hart were both at ringside. So congrats, Natalya, for being wrong again. And she kind of just went on to do this whole Charlotte, you don't have dignity anymore shtick that she's been doing for the last 2 months, it seems like. And then Charlotte got on the mic and just talked about how people in North Carolina worship her because her name is Flair, which is also, coincidentally enough, the only reason she has that title as well.
Yeah, you know what was so funny, dude? Was this segment really was predicated on nepotism. You had McMahon's, a Hart, and a Flair all in the same ring.
Yep.
Like, crazy when you really just have to think about it. And the whole Charlotte bit, like, oh, I could punch your best friends in the face and you would still cheer for me, that was so Trump-esque. And I wouldn't be surprised if Charlotte ripped that off directly from Trump, because he had that infamous line, I could go out in the middle of the street and shoot somebody and I'd still get votes. Because he knew it was dominating, like, all the caucuses and stuff. So I felt like that was very Trump-esque of Charlotte, and I have to wonder if she was genuinely, like, inspired by his dramaticism and, like, his boisterous personality and things like that. Because, yeah, she had the whole line, I could go and I could punch your best friends in the face and you would still worship me. And I was just like, wow, did WWE really go there? Was it intentional, unintentional? I don't know.
Dude, the last time Charlotte was a main event of a Raw with a contract signing, she referred to someone's, or not even her, it was someone else, but her dead brothers got referred to, or brother got referred to. Like, it's...
Right.
WWE always goes for the shock factor in these women's main event contract signings, which we're 2 for 2 now.
Right.
She calls Natalya just another Hart. She's a loser and she likes to bitch and complain and all this stuff. And then Charlotte kind of has this moment where she's looking at the contract to sign it, and Ric Flair kind of freaks out a little bit because there's a new stipulation in the contract, which I like this. I really like this, because before it even happened, I was kind of thinking, well, I mean, Ric Flair being banned from ringside would be nice if it actually meant that he would be banned from ringside, in the sense that if he would show up, Charlotte would lose. And they actually made that a thing. They said, if you show up at ringside, even if it's just an appearance, not only will we have security escort you out, but Charlotte will be forced to forfeit the women's championship. And they also added, if you don't sign this contract, Charlotte, you're also going to have to forfeit your women's championship. So they really backed them into a corner on this, and I really appreciate that.
See, what I was, and I think why ultimately I was forgiving of this segment, is because I feel like it facilitated, or at least began the process, I should say, of the moment when Charlotte commits a severance, like, with her father and just goes out on her own, because you have Natalya remind Charlotte who she used to be, and their infamous match in NXT where Charlotte won her first championship, and Natalya reminded Charlotte, like, you did that all on your own, you didn't need your creepy father. So that was moment number 1. Moment number 2 was when Rick started to rev up, and Charlotte was like, Dad, not now, this is my time. So, she cut him out, she forcibly put him in the background. And then the third moment was, just to your point, that whole added stipulation. So, I mean, part of me thinks, like, are they just building this so that Charlotte can prove her merit as a champion, and then maybe the following night on Raw, like, down the road, she's like, you know what? I realized after beating Natalya, I don't need you anymore. We're done. I don't know. That's just what it's
Alternatively,
really looking like to me.
They could be building this to have Rick show up anyway, cost Charlotte the title, and that be what breaks them up.
That's true, too. That is equally possible, because we know Rick, and that was kind of illustrated in this segment too, and I think it gives credence to your point. Rick didn't hold back tonight. He thinks he's above the law, and he did blow a gasket tonight, despite Charlotte's multiple protests not to. She was like, Dad, stop, Dad, and he couldn't even hear it. It was like he was in his own little world at this point.
Well, yeah,
and
he's Ric Flair.
Exactly. He took off the shirt, and man, has Rick gotten a gut. As time's progressed, he's been out of, like, ring shape. I noticed.
I think he's like 67 years old, so it's not really that surprising.
No, not at all. And then Shane's just like, come on, Rick. I don't, Shane did a really good job, because it's almost like, come on, Rick. It's live TV. You're a legend. Do you really want to do this? I don't want to do this, Rick. I respect you. Don't do this. It was almost like Shane was having his own version of Awkward Turtle. Yeah. And Stephanie just wasn't having any of it. Like, oh, I think you respect Rick too much. And then she cuts in, and Flair's like, well, what are you going to do? And then she just slaps him, and Rick falls to the ground. Charlotte is about to take issue with Stephanie. Natalya cuts her off at the pass, does a double leg takedown, gets her in the sharpshooter, and Charlotte taps again. I'm telling you, I think this is just creating a moment for Charlotte to prove her own worth, to beat Natalya straight up, and then realize, oh, I don't need my father. But you could just as well be right, because Rick can't control himself. He's an emotional guy. He's led on by his emotions, and he could.
And the really funny thing too is that the way the WWE is, Rick could come out, and Charlotte could just kind of disown him and be like, "No, I had nothing to do with that. I didn't want him out there. I told him to stay back." And then we could have Shane and Steph just be like, all right, well, we're not going to force you to forfeit, but you do need to defend your title against Natalya again. And this time we're going to just lock Rick up in a cell somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Or something to that effect. And it'll be interesting to see how they handle it at Extreme Rules, but I have to believe the split between Charlotte and her father is coming.
Yeah.
Like, there's really nothing more they can do. Him getting involved in matches has been incredibly played
Which
out.
might actually mean that we're going to get to see Charlotte exposed as the horrible mic worker that she is, and maybe actually drop the title because of it, maybe.
Probably. I mean, hell, for my money, she's already kind of exposed herself because it's not like Rick gets that much mic time on Charlotte's behalf to begin with. So, I just even more so at this point. So that's really how we end the segment. Natalya stands tall. She poses with the WWE Women's Championship, which was probably the biggest eyesore of the night because that's not your championship. That's Sasha
Dude, how
Banks'
horrible of a
championship.
feeling it is going into a match with nobody that you actually want to win.
I know. And you really just have to choose the lesser of two evils. And for me, it's always going to be Charlotte, like every single time, if Natalya is the other side of the equation.
It's a lot more difficult of a decision for me because I think I have a much stronger disdain for Charlotte than you.
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely say that you do. And I don't blame you. It's been so long that since we've had like a Natalya title reign, why ruin a good thing? So, is really where I'm at. So that was Raw. And do you have any other remarks you want to make about the main event segment?
No, just why?
I don't know. And this is the second time they've let women main event.
Depending on you, man. Why can't you give me an answer?
I just find it funny. This is the second time they let women like main event a go home show, but it's a contract signing, so you really don't do anything different.
It's like they're intentionally trying to portray women poorly.
Which, would that really be a shock to anybody? I didn't think so.
I think it would be a shock to some people.
Probably, but how long have you been watching the WWE product would be my follow-up question. I don't know. But with that said, let's get into our next segment, high spots and low shots.
I feel like if the news came out that they intentionally wanted to make women look bad so that they wouldn't have the responsibility of actually booking them properly, came out, Michelle Beto would be up in arms.
Probably, yeah.
Meanwhile, we'd be sitting back laughing our asses off like, well, this is not surprising.
Exactly. Like, yep, called it.
Yeah.
Just another day at the office.
This is why you watch Lucha Underground, people.
Exactly. Get on it. Next week, give it to the gods. We're going to see who wins that championship. But yeah, I should say this week. This week is what I meant to say. This week, give it to the gods championship.
In 2 days, brother. How crazy is that?
That's insanity is what that is. But back on track, my low shot. Who is going to be my low shot tonight? You know what? I'm going to say that my low shot is the New Day because it started out fun, but the Vaudevillains crashed the party, and they
ruined the rest of the night by meeting us in another timeline.
I know. So, everything got distorted, man. And Vaudevillains have momentum. So, yeah, New Day is my low shot.
I wanted to like you, New Day. I don't know why you had to do this.
Who's your low shot, man?
Golden Truth, because they failed.
Yeah, they did. They failed so hard. All those feel-good movies should end that way. Just the person ultimately failing at what they aspired to do.
Imagine the Social Network ending like that.
Yeah.
Wait, what? How did Facebook happen then?
Oh, my God. All right,
Those twins won it.
Yeah. Oh, my God, that movie, man. But my high spot, let me see here. You know what? I'm going to say that my high spot's AJ Styles. So he finally got one tonight. He laid Roman's ass out. So, yeah, AJ Styles is going to be my high spot. I enjoyed watching him beat the shit out of Reigns.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
I feel like a story that ends in that feel-good moment being robbed from you for the sake of having just a horrible failure happen should be called the Silicon Valley Effect, because that show is exactly like that.
It is, and that's why it's so good.
Those poor guys cannot catch a break.
Oh, guys, if you've never seen Silicon Valley, I highly recommend you go and watch it. Oh, my God, fantastic. But I'm curious, bro, who is your high spot?
My high spot is... ... The Shining Stars.
Yes, great pick.
It's so good to see them back. But now that I think about it, I think they have to be my honorary high spot.
Oh, okay.
And Chris Jericho also has to be my honorary high spot because Dean Ambrose, I've got to give credit to, because the promo that he cut tonight was a reminder of what he can do.
Yes, must have felt good for you, for how long you've been a Dean Ambrose fan to get that reminder personally of just how
I
good
had
he is.
kind of temporarily given up on him. Like I was, my passion for Dean Ambrose wasn't dead. It was like Superman. It just went into an elongated sleep state that helped to recover, right?
Right.
Yeah, clearly.
And you know what's so funny, Ashton? I mean, I don't want to go totally down the rabbit hole because I know we got to wrap things up here. But even with everything that Dean has been through, like the horrible booking decisions, I still see quite a few people say they think 2016 is Dean Ambrose's year to finally win the world title and do all that stuff. And I disagree, obviously. But when he has moments like this, I almost want to believe it. You know what I mean? Because this was so good.
Yeah.
If this was more consistent from Dean Ambrose, I would actually more heavily start saying, oh yeah, 2016 is his freaking year. I even see people picking him for Money in the Bank, and that's certainly a possibility.
Dude, people have been picking him for Money in the Bank for 3 years now.
I know, he's like the new Wade Barrett in that way.
Or Christian for Money in the Bank.
Or Christian, yeah.
Or Shelton Benjamin.
Or Shelton Benjamin, yeah, except, the difference, at least with the whole Christian, and well, more so Shelton Benjamin, is I think Dean really does have the charisma and the personality, but, I don't see it coming together for him, but this was just another kind of career night for Ambrose because it was so good. Yeah, I love that he's your high spot, dude. You definitely have the better high spot this week. I have no qualms admitting that whatsoever. So with that, our final segment.
No, it isn't.
What?
I mean, let's get into it, but it's not our final segment.
Oh, okay. Raw request. I'm just going to keep mine short and sweet. My Raw request, whether she wins or whether she loses, my Raw request is Charlotte commits her severance from her father, Ric Flair, the following night on Raw. So, yeah, just facilitate that breakup. Go out on your own, whether you're still champion and you've kind of validated yourself and your confidence, or you're pissed at the world and your father because it was taken from you. I think it's time that we do a little bit of an evolution here, a little bit of a makeover. So that's my Raw request. What's your Raw request?
Yeah, my Raw request is to put Anderson and Gallows against a team other than the Usos, please.
There you go. Short, sweet, and to the point. What's our next segment? Because I
30-second hot seat.
You know what? I knew that it wasn't going to be let go. I was just like, oh, we don't do fan interviews anymore, so I don't have to do this anymore. But of course, just shift it on to the Raw reviews. All right, what's your 30-second hot seat?
Well, guess what, John? It's a pay-per-view week, so I can't even ask you a WWE-related hot seat. So my question is, who's winning Gift to the Gods on Wednesday? You have 30 seconds, and your time starts now.
All right, I think that Aerostar is going to win Gift of the Gods this Wednesday because I still believe that his storyline of him traveling back in time, touching base with the Aztec tribes, and wanting to unify them is really going to reach a pivotal development when he has the Gift of the Gods championship, because that championship is comprised of all 7 of the Aztec medallions. So Aerostar is my pick.
He needs to unite the tribes.
Exactly, and I think the Gift of the Gods is going to be, just the materialization of him doing that. So manifestation was the word I was looking for. The manifestation of him doing that is that championship.
I'm so glad we did this, because now I can say, those of you that are listening to this that only watch WWE and listen to WWE TWitWoW, what are you doing with your life? Did you hear what John just said? We have a character in Lucha Underground who traveled through time to meet with an ancient Aztec tribe. And this coming Wednesday is in a 7-way match where the 7 participants are attempting to unite a medallion that they won with the other 6 into a championship that grants you the power of the gods and gives you ability to cash it in for a world title shot given a 1-week notice in advance. This is the best thing going, not only in the world of wrestling, but in the world today.
Seconded. Absolutely seconded. If you're not watching Lucha Underground, I pity you, because I really don't think you know what you're missing out on. Give it a chance. This Wednesday promises to be very entertaining, a huge development coming through with, who we're going to find is going to be our, well, I guess third ever, because Cuerno did win it a little bit off Phoenix, but our third ever Gift of the Gods champion.
It would be our 4th reign.
Our 4th reign, yeah, definitely. So you guys aren't going to want to miss that. Big implications there, and really a stacked field, because, I mean, you got to figure other favorites, Cage, Sexy Star, all those people. So, yeah, get on it, guys. Great stuff. With that, though, Ashton, do you have any concluding remarks about the Raw Go Home show before Extreme Rules?
I just want to say that right up until the New Day took us back in time and ruined the timeline, this was an awesome show.
I completely agree. With that said, guys, this has been Raw in an alternate universe, apparently. This has been
a third of it was.
A third of it was in an alternate universe, anyway. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today, and that's in any universe. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. I guess the rules apply now, Ashton, for Raw 30-second hot seat would be the question down in the comments. So, who do you guys think is going to win Gift of the Gods this Wednesday? Talk down there with your predictions. Talk to us. Be sure to take
guys, don't post your Extreme Rules predictions yet, because we are going to be coming out with premium predictions video, and you can post your predictions on that.
Exactly. Be sure to take the conversation over to Pweetoff. That is Pro Wrestling is taking over Facebook. Again, for all WWE fans, I think I've mentioned this before, every Monday there is a Monday Night Raw thread. A lot of activity on it tonight, so, you could really fit right in.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and Ashton really was like one of the prime movers of that activity, so good on you. And, you could fit right in, voice your opinions, barrel laughs, it's a good time. Also, be sure to check out the Twitter.
Get into an argument about how talented Charlotte is.
Exactly.
Which I will win.
And there you go right there. And so, you could be celebratory, you could be argumentative, you could be anything you want, so long as you're always respectful and you don't spam. I hate those sunglasses posts. But be sure also to like, share, and comment on the content with the TWitWoW Facebook page. We are on Facebook now. If Facebook isn't your medium of choice, we also have a TWitWoW subreddit. On the TWitWoW subreddit, you can find all of our TWitWoW content, and members of the TWitWoW subreddit can create threads of their own on all things related to pro wrestling. Of course, for the best possible experience, I encourage all of you to follow both of us on Twitter. I am at John_TWitWoW. Ashton is at apond404. That is the letter A, pond, the body of water, POND 404. By the way, John_TWitWoW is JOHN for those that don't know how to spell my name. And we will see you again for our Lucha Underground live reactions, followed by our Lucha Underground TWitWoW. And as we've been talking about, who will emerge with the power of a god? Until then, tune in. Peace out.